Oh, I love how we can just go straight to YouTube from Zoom.
It's
It makes it
awesome.
so easy, and it doesn't look. I mean, it looks the same. Oh, I love how we can just go straight to YouTube from Zoom. All right. Jesus Christ, that was loud. I think we're good. Oh, and you guys talk real quick. Just say something. All right, yeah. All right, I think we're good. See if Vikings fans are alive right now to get in the chat, or else this would just go. I mean, I like these; they just get posted after. But anyways, full Chicago Bears preview right now with the NFL games going on in the background. Packers escaped one of the luckiest wins I've ever seen out of the Packers in a while. Other than that, Vikings news today: Drew Samia obviously going on the COVID list or whatever. And he's a highly what's the word you use? Like a highly
High risk.
Like high risk contacts or
high
something.
risk, yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about. A little Bears preview, and you guys can obviously ask questions in the chat. We already got one. Little all NFL news is: are the Dolphins overrated? I think the Dolphins have a lead right now. Right? I think they're up 7-0. I think the Dolphins, give them next year, they're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC, but I don't know about this year. I think it's you don't get 3 defensive touchdowns in a row in 3 straight games. That's a little fluky, but I don't know. Here, what do you guys think about the Dolphins? We'll start off there before we get into the full preview.
The Dolphins are, they're definitely surprising. I mean, they were doing pretty well with Ryan Fitzpatrick, aka Fitzmagic, running things back there. But now Tua's playing. I mean, I think he's doing pretty well. But like you said, they've kind of gotten. I think I read they've gotten outgained the last 2 games. So some of it's a little lucky, kind of fluky stuff, like you said, a defensive touchdown and stuff like that. But I mean, they got some young talent. I mean, I think they'll be up and coming. They'll probably be good in you said a couple years.
Oh yeah.
They can make the playoffs.
They could definitely make it this year.
5-3.
They're going to.
And it looks, I mean, they have a really good chance.
Like they're going to be 6-3 after today if they handle the Chargers, and they're about to score again. So
the Chargers are Chargers.
I heard
find every way to lose.
There's a lot of rumors of Belichick going to the Chargers.
Really?
Yeah, there's
I can't see Belichick leaving New England.
That's an interesting one. I didn't hear that one.
I haven't heard that one either.
No, it was a complete hype, but he said if Belichick was going to leave anywhere, Chargers would be the number 1 spot because of Herbert, and they got a ton of cap space. They have a ton of cap space. So people think like, hey, if Brady can go to Tampa Bay, get all these guys and all that. But all right, here we go. First Vikings question in the chat. Are you glad the Vikings cut Pat Elflein? Listen, this was just a weird move. They activated him from IR, and then they cut him, and so I don't know why. Like, I get you want him to have him go get another chance somewhere and play, but really, I don't get why they cut Elflein. I mean, why not have guard depth? I mean, you see today with Samia, I know he's our backup now, but like, what if that was Dozier? What if that was Ezra Cleveland? What if 3 guys in the O-line get COVID for a week? You need these guys. So I just don't really know what the move was. Like, I don't know if you guys know if it was a cap thing, but I mean, he's gone. I guess that era's over. Another waste of an offensive line pick. So, I mean, it's never good when you cut an offensive lineman you drafted 3-4 years ago or 2017. So I was confused. I don't know how you guys felt.
Yeah, I didn't really I was kind of surprised to see that, and I don't know what happened, unless they had a meeting and Elflein said if I'm not gonna start, then can you cut me? And if I was the Vikings, I would have said no. I mean, even if I know it was funny on Twitter, all these Bears fans were coming in hoping to sign Pat Elflein. And I get it, they've had some issues on the offensive line, but one thing people forget offensive line is a lot of teams, not all the teams, but a lot of teams just like to kind of stick with what they have in house because offensive line play is, it is a very cohesive group.
Yeah.
A lot of teams like to stick in-house options. I just I was just surprised. Why cut guard depth in the middle of the season when, like, I mean, he's a free agent after this year. So, like, I mean, even if he said, like, he wanted to, like, be cut, like, I would just say, like, no. Like, I mean, is he going to – if he goes to another team, like, and, like, plays, like, plays, like, is anyone going to have that big of a difference of opinion on him? Like, I don't think so. Like, so I don't know. I would have just kept him, but maybe there's something else going on. Maybe they saved like just under $1 million with this, cut. So maybe they're bringing someone else in. Yeah. Who knows? But I would have just kept him depth, even though he stinks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of a bizarre move in the middle of the year, especially with like stuff guys getting hit, but especially right now, COVID. Need that depth. I mean, especially guard. That's a valuable position. I mean, we could all agree he's bad, but I mean, like we could use backups.
Yeah.
For sure. At this stage, just depth. I mean, kind of weird, but I mean, I don't know. Who knows what happened there? Kind of strange for sure. But I mean, who knows? I don't know who's gonna go after him. I mean, the Bears definitely need an offensive line help, and it kind of sucks. He was like I think he might have been a second or third round pick, right?
Third round, yeah.
When they drafted him, it's big bust. So I hate to see it, but yeah, kind of weird.
Pat, I do have some news here for the Vikings for tomorrow. Not great, but not terrible. Well, Cameron Dantzler's not going to play. Drew Samia, and obviously is not going with the team. And really the only one they announced that isn't traveling is assistant offensive line coach won't go. And then Brandon Dillon and Brett Jones have been activated from the practice squad. So Brandon Dillon's the tight end, probably for Irv Smith, and then Brett Jones, backup guard.
Well, that's also something I wanted to talk about right now is Irv. You're out now because you celebrated a touchdown. Like, that was so frustrating. And I love Irv, but like to have that get flared up, his groin get flared up on a touchdown celebration, like, dude, like that just can't happen. That's such a Vikings thing to do before a game in Chicago. Is have your young star tight end get hurt by dancing after a touchdown. But
yeah.
I'm a little concerned with Cameron Dantzler because he did practice all week last time I went in a limited capacity, but like, I don't know if he hasn't been is he completely out of concussion protocol? I'm assuming so if he's practicing in a limited capacity, but it's kind of a little concerning that he isn't playing this week.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have him out there, obviously, but I don't know, like the other updates on like Harrison Hand, or him, like Chris Boyd. I'm assuming they're all ready to go, just except for Dantzler, right?
Yeah, Harrison Hand, Chris Boyd, that Chris Jones guy.
Oh yeah, Chris Jones.
And then Jeff Gladney. Those will be the 4 cornerbacks for the Vikings tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Gladney last week, I know it was the Lions, but he looked solid when I was watching a couple clips back of Gladney. I feel like the thing about Gladney I like is just how hard he plays, and obviously he's going to have a tough matchup this week if he is on Allen Robinson most of the time. But that's going to be something to watch out for is him on A-Rob, because A-Rob, I mean, talk about a dude who's been producing with, what he went from Blake Bortles to Trubisky, now the Foles, and he's still putting up good numbers. But from the chat right now, comment from Skol Nation says, if we get Zach Wilson, is the offense a top 5 unit, or frankly, any of the top QBs at the next year's draft? I am in love with Zach Wilson. I want the Vikings to trade up for him like the Chiefs trade up for Mahomes. But, that's a good question. I mean, especially if the offensive line continues to develop like this, if we would have a top quarterback, potentially this could be – listen, when you can run the ball like this, you can set up so much, and it makes the QB's life so much easier. So having a young quarterback come in, obviously I think all of us think we need to take one in the first round. But we'll see. I think if we get Zach Wilson, this offense will go to another
level. Yeah, he's from BYU, right?
Yeah, kid from BYU.
Yeah. I haven't watched him a lot, but just like from listening to some, college football, like, shows, and I listen to this podcast, they all rave about it, how great he is. So, I I'd have to watch a little bit more to like see like what we're getting, what would I would like it, we'll see
Yeah.
what happens, but I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I just think it'd be smart to take a young quarterback if obviously they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, but the Zach Wilsons, my guy I was talking about, Pat Trask from Florida.
Trask.
There are other guys. The guy from I have been pretty impressed with the quarterback from Alabama, Jones. There are guys out there. It'll be interesting though because the Vikings are like in that weird like kind of like middle of the first round where they're like bunched up with a ton of other teams right now. So still a lot to be decided with where they're going to pick coming in April.
Yeah, and it also comes down to what teams want to move off their guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if the Vikings draft a quarterback next year, I still think Cousins will start week 1.
Yeah,
unless
he's gonna
unless
start.
everything like hits the fan and he is just like unwatchable this year. But I mean, I don't think that will happen. I mean, I could easily see Cousins still playing all 16 next year. Another question about the draft from Cody Fullen. Do you think Zimmer will draft another defensive back? I mean, I don't know what the odds are at Vegas, but that's a lock. I mean, that is just free money right there. I mean, Zimmer's what's a dude from Alabama, like Patrick Surtain, the corner from Alabama? I'm sure Zimmer's going to be asking Spielman to trade
all over.
Zimmer's been already watching film on corners. But anyways, I mean, we're going to get into the Chicago Bears football preview. I mean, this is a big game. I think both teams have a lot riding on this game. It's an overall view. I think the Bears, I think this could be an absolute explosion for them if they lose. I think they'll get the 5-5. I could see Nagy being fired on Tuesday if they lose. Considering he's giving up play calling, I could see that maybe being like foreshadowing to what Pace. But then again, I think Pace and Nagy are a combo deal. I think if one's gone, both of them are gone, kind of with Spielman and Zimmer. I don't think Spielman would fire Zimmer. But this is a big game for both teams. And listen, I'm excited. Like, I was nervous when the Vikings were 1-5, Bears were 5-1. This game would have absolutely no meaning, and it would just be an ugly game to watch. But I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's going to be a fun game. Fun for us, not fun for the fans to watch.
Yeah, well, my biggest concern is that it's going to be, like a 6-3 slugfest, and it's going to be really, really hard to watch, be a snooze fest. But I mean, it's a big game, especially for the Bears. I think there's a lot of pressure on them to win this one. They're 5-4. They have a bye, I think, after this week, and if they lose to the Vikings, they play the Packers in Green Bay out of the bye. So that could be another loss. So I mean, it's a huge game. I mean, especially for the Bears. Nagy, I guess, is not doing the play calling anymore. They got a new offensive guy doing the play calling. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. But I mean, it's just a huge game all around. I mean, we'll see if the Vikings can, keep the run game going, keep Cousins in, third and manageable, give them some easy throws. Can't, just be dropping back every time. You can't get down, can't turn the ball over. So it's going to be – I think it's an intriguing game. We'll see. Hopefully it's just not unwatchable. That's all I'm hoping for Monday night.
This game is I think a lot about this game. I think I agree with Mike. I think more of the pressure's on the Bears because I think the Vikings with their 1-5 start, I think I still don't think they are, but I think people don't expect them to make the playoffs. But if you are the Vikings, if you're going to make a run here, you got to have this one. That's the position you put yourself in. This is a team that you're trailing in the wild card standings. And I'd say my biggest concern is and I said this last week after they beat the Lions. The Bears. There's a 90 to 95% chance that the Bears are going to be able to stop the run tomorrow night. They're a good defense. They're pretty well coached on defense. So I think usually good defenses and well coached defenses are able to stop the run. So if I'm the Vikings, we've seen this experiment since 2018. And we've seen it 3 times, not counting last year's last game, which didn't count. But the Vikings have tried to, run the ball, especially last year's game. They tried to get in that vanilla, run the ball on first and second down. It's not, if I was the Vikings, now you don't want to deviate, from what you're good at, and you want to continue to run the ball, but especially early, the Bears are going to load up to stop Cook. The Vikings have to be aggressive early. They can't be doing the same thing where they just run the ball and they get, third and 8 and third and 9. And we all know what's going to happen on 3rd and 9. It's going to be a disaster, and Cousins is going to start feeling footsteps. You got to get Cousins going early. It's got to be the game plan. Yeah. Thielen and Jefferson can make big plays. That has to be especially early in the game. You got to go to those guys early. Get the passing game going, and then you can get that. Then you can get into your run offense. But I say get the passing game going early tomorrow. Yeah. But I'm concerned that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the follow-up on that, Jim, when you're in those 3rd and longs in Chicago and you got those edge rushers coming off the side, those are just game-changing. Like if Cousins would somehow fumble in the Vikings territory, give that terrible Bears offense a short field. I mean, the Vikings, it's really shocking, but they just need to get to 20 points. I think if they just get the 3 touchdowns, somehow get there, I think I'll like our chances. But I mean, like you were saying, we just can't get the 3rd and long. Like, they can't come out first 2 plays, run, and then pass on 3rd and 9. Like, that can't be the game plan. You gotta keep them honest. Like, even if it's throwing a fade route to Jefferson on the first play because the Bears have 8 in the box, like, I'll take that. Like, I'll take that risk because you're not. I mean, prove me wrong, but you're not gonna go run for 200 yards.
No,
you're not gonna run for 150 with Dalvin. Like that's just not going to happen. One thing I'll give an X factor. I want you guys to give a huge X factor to look forward to, or something like a matchup. But a matchup I'm looking forward to is Roquan Smith versus Dalvin Cook. As we saw last week, Dalvin coming out of the backfield on those Vikings picked up a lot of 3rd and longs last week, and mainly it was because of Dalvin just burning the linebacker. That I get it worked last week against the Lions, but Roquan Smith's he reminds me a lot of Eric Kendricks. Yeah. And I don't think Dalvin can just be able to burn him as easily as he burned the linebackers on the Lions. That's my X factor to look out for. Anyways, I mean, yeah, you guys go X factors for Monday. Mine's Dalvin versus Roquan.
I'm gonna go with the offensive line against the Bears D line. I think this is the offensive line honestly has been playing pretty well last couple of games, especially run blocking. They haven't had a drop back and pass a lot because they've been running the ball so well. But I think this is gonna be a huge test for them against those edge rushers. Can they give Cousins time, to make those throws? We all know Cousins, he needs time to process everything down the field because he has to go through his reads. That's how he's always been. So I'm thinking that the offensive line, can they hold up against this Bears D line? If they can, I think it's a huge step for moving forward for them.
Yeah, mine's going to be the Vikings defensive line. This is probably, if I'd have to, I'm trying to think back on all the matchups. Maybe Seattle's offensive line isn't that good. This is definitely the worst offensive line the Vikings are going to face this year. Yeah. The Bears, it's bad. And now this is I know, I've been, you think about this matchup and you think about, the Vikings offense versus the Bears defense, because, the Vikings offense is the strength of their team and the Bears defense strength of their team. What happens on the other side is going to be huge because we've seen the Vikings defense. They, teams have been able to move the ball against them all year. And, the Lions were able to move the ball against them last week, but the Vikings defense made some big plays. The Vikings defense has to make some big plays tomorrow. This Bears offense, they're not bad. They're pitiful. They are bad. They are really bad, but they can still move the ball. It's not like they don't have guys at all. Like Foles, when Foles can make some throws. Like he has Robinson. They got that guy Mooney, the rookie. Graham can still make a couple plays here and there. I know they don't have Montgomery, but you want to see the Vikings just completely make them one-dimensional, and then hopefully guys like DJ Wonham, Fadi Adenabo, Jalen Holmes been playing better. Armin Watts has gotten in there a couple times.
Yeah.
Those guys really need to make some plays tomorrow because You just don't want to give the Bears offense any confidence because, they got a new play caller now. I don't really think that does anything, but if the Bears, you don't want Foles to get comfortable because, the Bears offense, they're just looking for anything positive because even when the Bears have moved the ball, they do something stupid like, Javon Wims punches a guy. They just do dumb things. Like they get like 2 false starts on a 4th and 1. Like they just been doing stupid things. I wouldn't expect that stuff tomorrow against the Vikings. I think they're going to probably be pretty disciplined, but they can't force Foles into some turnovers if they're aggressive.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think the Vikings defense obviously needs to get off the field because you got to think about the mind of the Bears defense. I mean, they're probably so sick of the Bears offense, just constantly going 3 and out. And the Bears haven't had their bye yet. I mean, if you look at their injury report, like guys like Hicks, guys like Graham, they're just taking rest days on Thursday. They're taking these rest days. So, I mean, that obviously shows they're tired. Like, they're going to get tired. And that's why I also agree, set up the pass early. And then when it's later on in the game and it's probably going to be like 10-7 in the third quarter, then you just start pounding Dalvin. Then you start – because at least if you keep them honest and they're on the field a ton, I mean, that could easily be an advantage the Vikings could have. But pretty much what I was thinking, this is going to be a complete opposite game from the Green Bay game. When the Green Bay game, there was 4 possessions in the first half. There might be 4 possessions in the first 5 minutes of this game, and I really would not doubt it. But another thing, I think my number one thing for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins can't turn the ball over. The Vikings cannot turn the ball over, especially in their own territory. That's what I think. I think if they don't do that, I bet you their chances to win this game are – I mean, if they just don't turn the ball over, I think the Vikings have a 70% chance to win this game. But however, they do turn the ball over, I really don't think it – like, especially if they just give the Bears a free touchdown, that just can't happen. I swear to God, if they get a punt block this week, I'm going to lose my mind. But I think Cousins not turning the ball over is the number one thing that'll help the Vikings win.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. Sure. You can't give the Bears anything easy because that's how they win. That's just what they. That's just
Bears' way to win is turnovers. Yeah. Getting turnovers, getting free touchdowns. You got to hit, like Jimbo said. You got to hit big plays on the field. You got to be aggressive. So I mean, the Vikings got guys who can do it. They got Jefferson and Thielen. They're good deep guys. They're good receivers. You got to take those shots early because they're going to all be selling out for the run. Be bringing guys. You got to hit those plays on the field. You got to take those chances. At least take the chances. Not saying if Cousins will hit them, but at least try.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, the Bears are feeling the pressure. Like we talked about, the Bears are feeling the pressure here. Like Matt Nagy doesn't give up play calling duties. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But I gotta think that they have to make the playoffs this year. They sold out for Khalil Mack. They brought in Matt Nagy to mold Mitchell Trubisky. That didn't work. Now they at least have to make the playoffs. I kind of feel like they're in a situation like the Vikings were last year. If the Vikings didn't make the playoffs, Zimmer probably would have been fired. I feel like that's gotta be it for the Bears this year. They have to find a way to at least make the playoffs, even though there's a 99% chance they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But, the pressure's on them. So, let's hit a couple big plays early and let's get them down early. Then they're going to start feeling it.
Yeah. Couple of comments from the chat. DJ Duddy just says, what's up? And then, so who are the starters on the D line on Monday? I would assume it's still Ifedi at right, or what was it? Yeah, Ifedi normally starts on right end now. Who is it? Who you think it's just gonna be the guys who started last week?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Holmes,
Jaleel Johnson, maybe
Stephen, Jaleel Johnson, and Adenabo.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be the same guys we've been running with. Mr. Stacks in the chat says he needs to have Justin Jefferson 150 yards and a touchdown. That would be. Listen, if Jefferson could have a game like that, like he did against Tennessee, like he did against Atlanta, I think the Vikings will win. Mr. Stacks also says Vikings defense going to win us the game. Hopefully, winning us the game is just doing what other teams have done to Chicago. And DJ Duddy asks, is the Bears running defense good? He also says, is Irv injured at the moment? Yeah, Irv Smith is not going to be playing this week. He injured his groin dancing in the end zone. Obviously, I don't know if it's officially from that, but that's what it looked like. But is the Bears running defense good? I know the Bears are ranked, 15th in yards per game against the run. I just think of the Bears are that type of team. Jim, you said it if they want it, they're the very Bill Belichick type where it's like they're going to take away what you do well. You find a different way. So let's just say that the Vikings were the number one passing team in the league. I bet you they could take away the pass. Mm-hmm. Just like how I think they are going to have a chance to take away the run. The thing is, some of me just thinks this Vikings offensive line is it's just way better than it was in years past. And normally when we play the Bears, it was Akeem Hicks just dominating. He was the guy that just felt like dominated. Now with Ezra, Bradbury in his second year, Dozier starting to get it going. Yes, I think we need to set up the run, but I honestly think Dalvin's still gonna be effective. I think Dalvin's still gonna make an impact on this game.
Yeah, you got to be able to. I think they got to take Hicks out of the game. He's been such a big factor in previous seasons. Just being able to get that interior push. The Vikings O-line is overall like a smaller offensive line. Mm-hmm. They're meant to get out to those second levels. They're quick, but they got to be able to somehow double team Hicks, get him out of there. Because I think the Bears. Just looking at their stats, they're better against the pass. I saw their I think top 5 in completion percentage against opposing teams and quarterback range are top 5 best. So they're definitely their secondary has played really well this year.
Oh yeah.
And that D line, I always thought it's really good. They've always done a great job being able to get that interior push and getting guys, a lot of negative plays, in the rushing game. So I think the key is just can they contain Hicks and contain those edge rushers, slow them down. I would also say a good thing with the Vikings should do is probably do a little up tempo, slow down the edge rushers as well. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hicks is the biggest one. Mac obviously has created some issues the past 2 years. But Akeem Hicks, he's ate the Vikings center and guard combo for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And then he goes for dessert. He is a big dude, and he just has destroyed some of those guys. Now, the one thing about the Vikings, Mike said, the Vikings are just a smaller offensive line. I always made the joke they're like little lawn gnomes in the woods, against the big trees.
Yeah.
They're just small at times. But now with Dozier and Cleveland, they're a little bit bigger, bigger, wider. So I think it'll be a little bit better, with them not being able to get mauled. Bradbury's a small guy, but yeah, I think just giving Cousins some time. Because like they said, against the pass, that Bears their second round pick, Jalen Johnson, I think his name is.
He's pretty good.
He's played really well for him this year.
Pretty good.
And that's kind of concerning here, is that the Bears cornerbacks played well this year. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, you're good. I was just going to mention Eddie Jackson also is fantastic, since he's been with the Bears.
Well, that's the thing with the Bears. They got those playmakers in the second, just very opportunistic guys who are Eddie Jackson, you give him a chance, he's going to come down with it. Wow, 49ers are up 10-0 on the Saints. I swear to God, the NFL is wild right now. The NFC,
wild year.
The NFC is so open, I think, which also is why I'm still staying very optimistic about the Vikings, just because I think the NFC is very wide open. But another thing about the small offensive line, I think in years past, when you roll out Bradbury, who is it, Klein and Elfline?
Yeah.
Like you said, these little little midgets. Well, not midgets, but they've brought out these little thick guys.
Yeah.
But I think with Cleveland and Dozier, especially Cleveland can still move. Really, he's 6'6" and he can fly. For some guards, I think just having bigger guys, because Hicks, he is massive. He's tenacious. He likes to get after it. And the way Bradbury and Ezra and O'Neal on that right side, they got a lot of dog to them. And I think Hicks almost intimidated the Vikings interior years past. I don't think Cleveland, Bradbury, even Dozier, I mean, the whole offense, I don't think they're really scared of anybody right now. Like, I feel like they think they can take on the best front seven in the league. Will they? I mean, we'll see. But I just think the intimidation, I don't think, like, in the trenches, the Vikings should win in the trenches on Monday. At least the D-line.
Especially defensively.
Yeah,
they should.
Especially defensively.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but one of my friends, he watches this dude who breaks down, like, Bears film, and he does a really good job. His name's The Tape Never Lies. And he said the number one thing about the Bears offensive line is just effort. He said it is just terrible technique, terrible effort. And he breaks down these. It looks like peewee football. Like, sometimes it is so bad. But the Vikings D-line, they got a bunch of young guys who like to get after it. So, I mean, Jim, like you were saying, get after it then. Put pressure on this Bears O-line.
Yeah, and, like, DJ Wonham, like, he's like, I was texting you yesterday, like, he's played only 35% of defensive snaps. Now, I know, like, he's raw.
Oh, Allen Robinson is out. Allen Robinson is out.
He's out.
Really? Well, what happened?
Maybe he just doesn't want to play anymore.
People in the chat are saying, I got to check this now.
COVID list, maybe?
I'm going on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be absolutely massive.
Yeah, it's a big loss for the Bears.
Oh, geez, that would be really big.
I'm looking. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, right now the score has him as questionable with his knee. But hopefully we'll see. That would be – yeah, it says he's got these knee issues going on. So, Gonzalo, you better not be messing with me if Allen Robinson is playing on Monday now. I just got really excited there.
That would be huge.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Lamar Miller, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he was the listen, the Bears practice squad right now is Kyle Sloter and Lamar Miller. It's the weirdest thing. The quarterback running back is Kyle Sloter, the Vikings preseason legend, which is hilarious. I mean, could you imagine if Foles gets hurt and Sloter gets thrown in the game on Monday?
It'd be fantastic. Seeing him run around.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
Trampling.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, the Vikings, I mean, Nick Foles, obviously he killed us in the NFC Championship game. And Mr. Stack says, if we pressure Foles, we're good. Vikings are finally starting to get pressure. And listen, I agree with that. Gonzalo says Allen Robinson's on the IR list.
Whoa. I have not. Wow. If true, my heavens.
Yeah, if got it. I mean, shit, if that's true, that'd be massive. But the thing about Foles, I think what he does so well is the RPO. The thing is, the Bears don't have an R. They don't have a run option because they can't run the ball. And with guys like Kendricks now in the middle of the field, that RPO, it's only those quick slants. I mean, Kendricks and Wilson are going to be sitting on those all day because of the lack of the run game. And if Montgomery, I mean, he is ruled out, I think that's massive. With how bad the Bears running game, I mean, listen, the Bears should not run the ball on us. Foles needs to throw the ball 50 times, which I mean, he probably will throwing the ball 50 times because I don't think the Bears are going to try to force run the ball, especially with Kendricks the way he's playing this year and Eric Wilson. But I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. I'm gonna give my one bold prediction for the Vikings defense.
I'm gonna hide.
I think Gladney's gonna get his first interception. I think
that's not too bad.
I think Gladney. I think he's the way he plays, very aggressive. I'm putting Gladney on an interception this week. Here, you guys go. Bold stat prediction. Bold wild play. What do you guys think is going to happen out of the Vikings D? Do you have anyone who you think is going to step up?
Well, first off, the Allen Robinson stuff. I mean, I just Googled it, and the last was that he had a knee issue in practice on Thursday, but they all expect him to play. So unless something got worse, not sure. I haven't seen anything else, but it could be true. But bold prediction. That's a tough one. I'm going to say Justin Jefferson's going to go for over 100 yards. Big game for Justin Jefferson. I'm thinking eight catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown for Jefferson this week.
Bold prediction. Just the Vikings winning in Soldier Field should be.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
It's a bold prediction. I'm going to go that Anthony Harris gets his first turnover of the season tomorrow. I think some way he gets a turnover. He hasn't had one all year after
Like
how many did he have last year? Like 7 or
6
something.
like that. Yeah.
Gets a fumble recovery or he gets a pick.
Yep.
He gets one of those tomorrow. I'm glad that's going to be my prediction.
Yeah, I like that. And then follow up on that, like the turnover battle tomorrow. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. Whoever wins the turnover battle is going to have to. I mean, they're going to have such an advantage to win the game. Another key thing I'm looking out for is just the Vikings running game. I just want to see if they can finally just do it on somebody, like go into somebody's house who's got a strong front seven and just run. Because I swear, I feel like we run the ball so well against bad teams, and then when we do play a good front seven, it's just like what the hell is going on? For some reason, I'm in love with this offensive line right now. I think even though they're playing bad teams, it's just these holes Dalvin's getting. And I think it's all coming together. Obviously, Irv not being there, that's something to look out for. Conklin's going to need to have a game at the second tight end spot. But, I mean, CJ Ham's like a 6 offensive lineman to me. So, huge shout out to him. That's definitely something that I will feel so good. That'll be best case scenario if the Vikings are able to run all over the Bears for me.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean that's the key. I mean, can they beat a team that has a great front seven? It seems like every time they play a good team, like you saw last year against the 49ers, just an absolute just disaster. Couldn't block anyone. And then the play calling gets so vanilla. So I think that's gonna be the key. Can they control the front seven? I think the offensive line is playing with confidence, but they haven't seen a front seven like this yet. So I think it's just going to be a huge test, and that will be the key of the game. Kirk not turning the ball over, like you said, Pat. And, if they can control that front seven, I think they have a good chance to win.
Yep.
Yeah. This is I know I don't like to be negative, Pat, but
keep me honest.
I just the forewarning because I know a lot of Vikings fans are starting to get excited at this place that they're playing at, and the time that they're playing at. This place is not very friendly.
Wait, show your stat. Tell your stat. What was the offensive touchdown?
So the Vikings haven't scored the Vikings haven't scored an offensive touchdown in the first half at Soldier Field since 2014.
That is crazy. That is wild.
They're due, guys. They're due.
That's hard to do. I went to a game in 2017 and the score was 3-2 at halftime. And
was that the Bradford game?
Yeah, poor Bradford was playing on one
in the end zone. He sat there. Remember when he sat there in the end zone?
Poor guy. I felt so bad for him out there. He was just getting destroyed. Like, it was just sad to see, but they ended up winning that game actually. Yeah. But I mean, just forewarned. Now this team, this is the game. Like you look at all the good teams they've played, and I don't want to call the Bears a good team because I think they're a bad team. If you have a bad offense, you're probably a bad team in the 2020 NFL season. But they have a really good defense. But these are like the situations where the team has a very good defensive line, and these are the times where they struggle. Now, last year, when they played the Saints on the road, it was a little shaky start, but they got comfortable because they were able to establish their run game.
Yep.
Like, can Cousins, because we saw last year against Green Bay, even against Kansas City, there were some shaky moments. Can Cousins, not hear the footsteps when the Bears are probably going to come after him, and that's going to be the key tomorrow. Can this offense kind of get over that take that next step and not they're playing a very good defense tomorrow? Can they dominate the game? Because that's the going forward with this team. When they play Tampa Bay, when they play, they got obviously, the rest of their game doesn't matter who they play. Their offense has to take control of the game.
Yep.
They're not going to win games, the Zimmer way anymore. I call it running the ball, but they're not going to keep teams scoring low anymore. Teams are going to score against them. The offense has to control the game tomorrow. That's really the key. Yeah. And the defense, don't let stupid things happen where Foles is all of a sudden making plays that you're just going oh my God, the championship game like where he sits in the pocket for like 30 seconds and throws to a wide open guy downfield because Xavier Rhodes is on the bench. So, I just forewarned Viking fans, don't be shocked if you see a clunker tomorrow. I just want to put that out there. But hopefully we don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game tomorrow is going to be so. I think it's going to be so much fun to watch because, like, when the Vikings offense is on the field and the Bears defense is on the field, I mean, you're going to be like, oh wow, these are two really good football teams. And then when it's the opposite, you're going to be like, what the hell am I watching right now? When it's the Bears offense and the Vikings defense, I mean, it's going to be. I mean, it's completely polar opposite teams. Like we can run the ball as well as anyone. They can't even get like 3 yards per carry. So, but yeah, definitely that. Cousins, I mean, with him tomorrow, it's going to come down to not turning the ball, but he can't be scared to make big plays tomorrow. Listen, Vikings fans, if you think the Vikings just can go in there, run the ball like they did in Green Bay and just really control like Cousins is going to need to make a couple throws on a 3rd and 7. Like he's eventually going to have to make a 3rd and 7 play. And what are the Vikings? I think in the 20th century, I think we have 4 wins in Soldier Field. We're 4-17 or 4-16 or something like that. So I mean, obviously, Cousins 0-9 on Monday night. Vikings in Soldier Field. Vikings against the Bears in general. Nick Foles from the NFC Championship game. I mean, there are so many demons the Vikings can overcome, and we're favored somehow in this game. I am still shocked at that I would think it would be a pick 'em. I don't know how Vegas put that at 3, but I mean, hey, if you guys want a nice bet in the chat, I would easily take Bears. Honestly, Bears money line probably has great value. Like
hammer the Bears, people.
Yeah.
Based off history.
You know what? Honestly, Bears money line for a Vikings fan, I mean, you could make some nice money. But then also, if you lose it, you're like, hey, we just beat the Bears in Soldier Field. Definitely a good bet for Vikings fans.
Yeah, win-win scenario.
Yeah, win-win. Bears money line, hot bet.
Yeah, I would hammer the Bears, guys. But I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but just based off history, I just can't believe the Bears aren't favored. They dominated the Vikings at Soldier Field I wouldn't say like dominate, but they've won every game. At Soldier Field, and they've dominated on defense. I just can't believe I would put the Bears at least a 2-point favorite. Yeah. Usually you get 3 for being at home. I know the Bears aren't very good, but I would definitely put them at 2-point favorites. I can't believe that.
Shocking if it was in Minnesota. It would be Vikings 6.
I would think it'd probably be like, at least maybe 4 or 5.
5.5. Like that's
something like that. That's
even then I'd hammer the Bears.
Yeah. Vikings are 3-5, everyone. Take a step back.
I mean, it's crazy. Like they're still 3-5 and they're favored in Chicago. But
yeah, it's crazy.
That's the thing though. Like, remember, the Bears were 5-1, and still everyone just said, and rightfully so, everyone still thought they sucked, and they did. But they were just winning like in ways that you knew that couldn't like it wasn't going to carry throughout the season. Like now, like the Vikings were 1-5, even though they were 1-5. People like, I guess I'd say like ESPN, like NFL Network, FL, Fox Sports, like, all those shows, you see that the Vikings, they have, guys who are pretty talented on offense. And then when they go into Green Bay and win, and then they, score a lot of points against Detroit, people are going to start saying like, oh, well, maybe this team's like really good.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch them like every play, you should, I still go like, I wouldn't say they're good. Like maybe they're not 1-5 bad, but like, but yeah, I mean, they probably are scary to other teams because they can't score. And like, it just puts a lot of pressure on the defense. Like when you have a back like Cook, like who can do those things, like it just, it's tough. It's tough when, and then you got receivers, so, it's just crazy the way just like, why is a 3-5 team favored to go into a 5-4 team on a Monday night game?
I mean, listen, Vikings fans, like the pregame show for us is going to be brutal. They're going to show that Kirk Cousins stat. It's ESPN too. ESPN
Don't watch it.
Hates Kirk Cousins. That stat will be shown probably 10 times on Monday, and even during the game, they'll be like, "Can this be Kirk Cousins' first Monday night?" I mean, you're going to hear it all over the place. And listen, that stat, it is funny to me, but it's not like he's played bad in his Monday night game. I mean, he's had some bad games, but it's not like every single loss is on him. But I mean, Vikings fans, please just hang in there during the pregame show because that is going to be ESPN. I mean, they are going to have a field day with Cousins. A couple things from the chat. Gonzalo says Ezra Cleveland's the GOAT. I mean, yeah, he's been pretty solid this year. I love Ezra. I love the way he plays. But DJ Duddy says his best case scenario, he wants to see a DJ Wonham sack Justin Jefferson 100 yards and a Gladney interception. So very similar to us. DJ Wonham, I mean, that would be nice to see him get after it as he should. Julian Maker says he'll go Vikings 24-17 with Rudolph with a red zone touchdown. Rudolph, I'll tell you what. He is a sleepy guy that I could see getting a touchdown tomorrow. With Irv out, I could see Rudy maybe having a 2-touchdown game tomorrow, which would be a bold prediction. But Mr. Stack says Cousins 9 of 15, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Listen, if we throw the ball 15 times tomorrow, we are 100% winning that game. But Cousins might
probably win. Yeah,
Cousins will probably have to throw the ball around 25 to 30 times. That's what I would say he'll end up in. Gonzalez says we have the best offensive game plan right now. Snap the ball and turn it to Dalvin. Yeah, I mean, that's been working, but I think we all think the Bears are at least going to provide a lot of resistance. It's not going to be as easy. So weird that we suck against the Bears, but against other teams that aren't even good. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Vikings. Like, I mean, the Bears could be 0-9 right now, and the Vikings could be 8-0, and I'd still be terrified to go in there on a Monday night.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Vikings are awful in Chicago, says Cody. Yeah, that's another thing. The Vikings are terrible in Chicago, but one thing I want to talk about is the damn special teams. Bailey missed an extra point last week, and we had 2 punts blocked. And KJ Osborne, Jim, I know you can talk about this, but, I mean, here, you go ahead. KJ Osborne, I mean, he's been a little shaky in both return games, and I mean you've noticed it. So
yeah, disappointing. I especially last week. I mean, I'm pretty sure like this guy's he was a pure kick returner like in Florida, right? I think
Miami.
Yes. Yeah. And like it just doesn't look good. Like I know what the head coach is gonna say. He's gonna say just take a knee. Because that's exactly the first thing he's just gonna say. Take a knee. Like, yeah. They have struggled to find a kick returner since Cordero Patterson and back Cheryl. There. I remember they've tried like so many guys like Jerick McKinnon. They even put Marcus Sherrills back there at times. They've really struggled to find a good kickoffer. They've had Abdullah back there. I wouldn't be surprised if you see like a guy like Abdullah back there. But yeah, he's really struggled, Osborne. I've kind of been disappointed. I thought he'd bring a little bit more life to their special. Really good. He's a very good gunner on the punt coverage.
He is,
him and that Chizena guy, they can fly. But on the kick return game, even the punt returns, it's kind of been just disappointing. Obviously, last week, hopefully they can block this week.
I know.
But yeah, he's been disappointing. I don't know if it's like a blocking thing from their kick return or it's him. Maybe he's just not, because they're starting off on pretty bad field position when he's returning the kick. He probably just take a knee.
Yeah,
that'd be my or. What teams are going to start doing, though, if it continues to get worse, is they're going to start putting the ball at the 1-yard line, and they're going to force them to catch it and run. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting thing to look out for. Our all-pro linebacker, we could see him at long snapper this week. He is apparently, if the long snapper, because I think he's banged up right now, Eric Kendricks is our emergency long snapper, which that would be absolutely hilarious to see EK out there giving a snap, but I pray to God he does not. I mean, that would be brutal to have him go out there and be a long snapper. But special teams are going to play – listen, in a gritty game like this, in an individual, it's special teams, turnovers, like the weather is going to be bad. We're gonna need to get a wind check tomorrow in Chicago before the game, see how the winds are gusting because that could also play. I mean, then we could legitimately see Dalvin getting the ball 40 times tomorrow and going for only like 100 yards. Which I honestly wouldn't be upset about. But anyways, what do you guys think on offense? Just give who do you guys want to see get involved besides obviously Dalvin? Like, who do you guys think needs to have a game?
You got to get the receivers involved in big play. I think, especially Thielen. He's kind of disappeared last few games. Obviously, they've been running the ball, but I got to get him going. Get Jefferson. I mean, he hasn't really got a ton of targets either, but I mean, obviously it's because like Dalvin been hitting some big runs.
Yeah.
But definitely Thielen's definitely been kind of MIA, not getting the ball a lot. Can they get him going? And can they, use Rudolph? I think Rudolph could be a factor if they can get him in the middle of the field, those deep vertical routes right down the middle of the field. I think that will be key. So I just want to see them, kind of get the passing game, hit some big shots on the field. I think that's going to be huge factor in this game. Can Cousins live up to that $30 million he's making? Can he hit some big throws in a primetime game?
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say let's get Tyler Conklin involved. Let's get him. Let's get that big man the football.
CJ Ham maybe.
CJ Ham
runs.
I agree with Mike. It's got to be the receivers. That both of them now they've been quiet the past 2 weeks. And Thielen, ever since that Seattle game, I think he's had I know he had some catches against Atlanta and that awful performance in garbage time, but both of them the last 2 weeks, both of them in their mind. And I kind of got deja vu here. I know what Thielen's thinking. Last year when they went to the Bears, he knew the Bears were going to stop the run, and the Vikings couldn't do anything on offense. And that was a game where he got very frustrated because his quarterback missed him on a wide open touchdown. Now this game, they're both of them are thinking the same thing. Both of them want to get going. Jefferson's a rookie. He's not going to say anything, but we also these are the games where, you want to get these guys involved as early as possible because like we said, the Bears are probably going to be able to stop the run tomorrow night. And, Kyle Fuller and Jalen Johnson are good. I think Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson are probably better, especially in 2020 NFL. Get them the ball, like I said, maybe jet sweeps like Thielen and Jefferson, or screens against the Bears are hard because they're so fundamentally sound. But get these guys going downfield, they're itching to get going. So those are my two guys. They have to have good games tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they both got to go over 100 each tomorrow, but have them both be around 60 to 70 even. That would be so nice for the Vikings to have those guys be at just 70 yards each tomorrow. But also, I'll tell you what, Cousins this year, I think the fade route, just the streak route on the side, they've been going to that a decent amount this year. And I think he threw a beautiful one to Jefferson last week. Yeah. Which I would love to see them go to again. Because also, it's 2020. Everything's a pass interference call. Even just picking up a huge 30-yard pass interference in Chicago, it's got to be so demotivating for that defense. I mean, listen, the Bears defense is fantastic. I still think it's top 3 in the league, even though the numbers don't show it. Well, that's just because they're on the field probably more than any defense in the league. Yeah. So, listen, you just got to take your chance. You can't come in. You can't coach scared. And Zimmer has done that in Chicago. He comes in here and, even if it's just in Minnesota against the Bears, he coaches scared. And maybe it's a couple trick plays on the opening drive, get maybe a CJ Ham screen, or I don't know what the hell it could be. Whatever the prop bet is on Conklin, I would love to see that. On Conklin getting a touchdown tomorrow. I would love to throw some money on that. But over-under's 43. What are you guys taking? It's 43.5 right now.
I mean, just based off, past games, I gotta go with the under in this one. Just based off, how the previous games have gone. It would just be interesting to see if they get off to a fast start, it'd be different. But I mean, I gotta go under. I'm predicting 2017 Vikings win.
There you go. 2017.
Gonna be positive. Gonna be positive, guys.
And that's actually a decent amount of points, and that's still 6 points under the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. First to 20 is probably gonna win.
First to
So
20.
I'm saying under.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over. I think, for some reason, I'll be the negative one on here.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think the Bears' offense is gonna have their best game of the season tomorrow night. It's gonna be
Probably.
It's gonna be
definitely a
very
possibility.
sad to watch.
It's gonna be a Nick Foles get right game.
It's gonna be a Nick Foles get right game. I'm gonna predict a disaster until I see differently. I'm gonna go the Bears. Well, I gotta go over. I'll go Bears. Bears win 30. Bears win 31-17. It's not very close.
31. God, if Zimmer gives up 31 to this Bears offense, I think it might be over for him.
He should be fired.
I hope to God I'm wrong, but I just, I'm not gonna pick differently until I see it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go under. I think the Vikings. I think I got them winning. God, I want to go. I'll probably go 24-13. I think if they play their cards right, I think the defense should just be okay. They haven't allowed less than 20 points in a game all year. Well, damn, you have a chance to. I mean, you're going to need to. So I think they can do that, and I think something's telling me Dalvin's still going to have a monster game. But I don't think it's going to come in the first half. I think the story of the first half, I think you could look up and it's going to be Cousins has like 110 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that. And Dalvin's only got around like 50 yards. But I still think Dalvin's going to be able to run over this defense. I don't know what – I think it's just with the line. I think he's going to end up with 125 yards and a touchdown. But the thing is that won't happen unless Cousins needs to have the best half of his life, and it needs to come in the first half. But that's what I think. I think it's going to be 24-13. I think it's going to be close, but I think Dalvin I hope the Vikings will be able to have a couple 8-minute possessions and get this Bears defense tired. That's why I got to go 24-13. I mean, Jim, if it's 31-17 tomorrow, I mean, the season's over then.
I wouldn't say it's – I mean, it's pretty close to over, but I mean,
close to over.
I mean, if they want to make the play, they got to win tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
But, even though, look, the next 3 games are at home, and they're definitely not gimmies whatsoever. They could easily lose to Dallas and Carolina and even Jacksonville. It could easily happen. But, you look at it, even if they lost yesterday, and Pat, I'm going to be optimistic as you. If they ran the table and went 6-6, and then, Zimmer puts on his magician hat, his defensive magician hat, and then they go into Tampa Bay, they go into New Orleans, they win on Christmas. It's still not over technically, but you never know. I want to make just one more point for all listeners out there, for all the people who are getting excited about the draft in April. There's this guy on Purdue. He's the defensive tackle. He's number 9. I don't know his name, and I'm not going to look it up yet, but he's as big as a house. And I'm just imagining him next to Michael Pierce next year. And it would I don't think anyone could ever run against the Vikings. Number 9 on Purdue. This guy is huge.
Hey, he might be 400 pounds.
He is huge.
He's a big boy.
Someone look him up.
Look him up, Pat.
Does he?
He's a massive human.
I'll look him up on Google. Is he like a stud or is he just a body?
He's a starter.
Nose tackle for Purdue. I don't know where he's predicted to go, but I would think he's got to be so his size. I think he's got to be a draft pick somewhere.
You said he's number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
I forget I don't know his name, but he's a big boy.
He was number 9, right? I swear he was number 9.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah, Lorenzo
Neal,
6'3", 325.
Looks bigger than 325.
He's a 5th year.
Yeah,
defensive tackle, right?
Yeah, D tackle number 9.
He was moving some guys against the Northwestern yesterday.
Somehow Northwestern's ranked, by the way, but I don't want to get it.
4-0, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy how Northwestern's in the top 25 this year.
Cats.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining that. I just want to make that point. Sorry.
No, I like that. I want to see the Vikings get Kevin Williams, Pat Williams back in, get those big boys on the D line with Hunter coming back. Hey, but Armin Watts.
Look at that big guy. Put that guy in the middle.
I love how he's wearing number 9 too.
I know.
Absolute body wearing number 9.
Get that guy on the Vikings.
Get that fellow out there.
That's gonna be Zimmer's undrafted free agent.
First round, that could be Zimmer's big D tackle.
Oh, I'm sure Zimmer.
He's going to be in Spielman's ear.
Oh yeah.
Please draft D.
Oh yeah. But anyways, final score predictions. I said 24-13. Mike, you said 2017, right?
2017.
And then Jim said 31-17 Bears for some reason. But honestly, that one I would not be shocked at all. I would not be shocked if it's 31-17 Bears.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just feel like this Vikings offensive line's different. I feel like it's different this year. So that's why I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, especially for fans of the Bears and the Vikings, just to see what the hell your team really is. I feel like both sides are like kind of trying to still figure out, like, it's week 9. Like, are we good or are we terrible? So I'm excited. But anyways, thanks guys for everybody stop by. It's obviously uploads right to YouTube after, so you guys can watch that there. Leave a like on the video, sub for more.